This is going to be a brief review of the new Canon 55-250 IS STM lens. And I want this review to kind of answer the question, is it worth the money? Not a lot of money, I think about $84 currently, so let's round out to about $100 more than the older version, the 55-250 IS2. And possibly, how does it compare to the more expensive 70-300? So I'm going to just run through a couple of highlights of this new version, share my experiences with it, and then basically answer those questions. So the big leading headline highlight of this lens is that it now shares that STM designation with the newer 18-55, the newer 18-135, and the new 40mm STM. So that's that silent stepper motor technology that's in there. What that means is during autofocus it is completely silent. Now we don't really care about this when we're still shooting. It's nice that it's not making a whole lot of noise, but it's really when we're taking video that it matters. And on the T5i and the 70D, these cameras that can do this continuous autofocus, it's really nice to be able to have a lens on here that is silent, and this new lens is completely silent. All 18-55, 18-135, those are silent as well. The 40 makes a little bit of noise. It is not completely silent, but the 55-250 STM is silent. Now, the other thing that the STM technology allows is a more smoother grabbing of focus. And on the T5i and the T4i, it really needs that STM technology to get smooth focus. If you throw on a non-STM lens on T4i, T5i, you can see it kind of vibrate or jerk its way to focus. When you have an STM lens on, it is a much smoother path to focus. The 70D's focusing technology, I got the 70D right here with the older 55-250. It does not need that STM technology as much. It still helps, and of course the silence is still useful. But one thing that's interesting about the 70D is lenses that are noisy on the T5i are less noisy. They still make noise, but they are less noisy on the 70D. It's just a matter of the fact of the way that the camera turns those motors or uses them, the speed at which it uses them. So we do see an improvement, and of course we see that silence from the STM, but it's not as important as on the T4i or the T5i. But it is really nice, really smooth on both cameras. So most of what I was just talking about really applies to video. It's faster, it's smoother, it's quieter, or we should say it's silent. For still shooters, do you care? Well, for those things you don't necessarily care, but I have been really impressed. Remember, this is a entry-level zoom lens from Canon, and currently sitting at somewhere right about $350 in price. I always hesitate to mention prices in these videos because they do change. And there is the deal right now of $150 off if you purchase it with something like the T5i or the 70D. That brings it down to a $200 price. That is a fantastic price. And what I was about to say is, for still shooters, I would consider this over the 70-300. I recently took this lens, the older 55-250, and the 70-300 out to a cycling race, and I took a lot of pictures of cycling going by me, pictures of them coming directly towards me, and I was really, really happy and impressed with the number of times that the 55-250 could keep up, could grab focus and give me a sharp picture, just as many as the 70-300. I expected to see the 70-300 being a more expensive, kind of a higher level lens to do better. Doesn't. I'd say they're about equal in the number of times that they're grabbing focus. Now, the 70-300 does give you a little bit more range, and over that range it does give you a little bit better or wider apertures, but it is a very small amount, and when we get to the end of this review I'll give my final thoughts on those two compared. Let's talk about build quality for a second. Again, entry-level lens, build quality is nothing to be, write home about. All plastic construction, basically. But it does feel nicer than the earlier version. And one really nice noticeable improvement is, one, you can have that full-time manual focus now if you do the half press of the shutter. The older version is not full-time manual focus, and you need to switch it from AF to MF if you want that. You do not have to do that with the new STM lens. You simply have to half press, and then you have that full rotation of the dial. That's nice. Along with that, all of the, oh, forgot to mention, important, pinch lens cap now. Such a big deal. It actually is fairly nice, especially if you've got a lens hood on here. Pinch lens caps are very nice. The focusing all happens internally now, which means, let me show you, on the older lens, as it focused, the lens barrel itself rotates. If you put a circular polarizer on here, circular polarizer, the amount or the effect of that polarizer is changed as you rotate it. You usually look at a scene, rotate it to get the effect you want, and then if you needed to refocus, it's going to mess that up. That's really, really annoying. They have now moved all of that focus internally, so there is nothing that sticks out, and there is nothing that rotates or is going to rotate your filter when you focus. That's quite nice. It does still extend when you zoom to 200, 55 to 200, no difference there, but the focusing is internal, so that's a difference. And just otherwise, a nice kind of larger focus ring to grab, and just in general, it's nice. Lightweight. You know, I have the 70 to 300 right here. It is a significant weight savings over the 70 to 300. I'll put a link down below, one to the savings and two to a blog post where I've written up a little bit more information, and you can see the differences in weight. But you know, again, we have some a little bit more of a serious construction, and we have metal mount at the end there. That's not something that I think you need to worry a whole lot about unless you're professional level shooting. And then I'm not sure the 55 to 250 is the best lens for you. I'm not sure the 70 to 300 is either. Both of these lenses lose a lot of light as you zoom. They are very good in good light, but as you zoom, they certainly lose some light. And so if you're a professional level shooter, shooting in all kinds of conditions, there are some other lenses that you might want to consider, but you are going to be spending a lot more for those. So those are the main points that I wanted to hit in this review. I will have some links to, as I said, the blog post with some image samples as well, and some video samples as well. Really, you know, I can't stress enough, if you want to shoot video with the T5i or the 70D and have some zoom, this lens is a no-brainer purchase. If you're mostly a stills photographer, I think this is still the best value, especially if you throw in that deal, if you're buying it along with a body and you get that $150 off. An amazing deal for this lens. Very, very good value. But let's say you're looking to upgrade to a zoom, or you're looking to buy a zoom lens. You already have your camera. Should you buy the 55 to 200 or something like the 70 to 300? I am not suggesting you buy the older 55 to 250 in this case. The savings just aren't worth it. You get a better lens here. I'm going to say for 99% of you, the 55 to 250 STM lens is going to be a better buy. Yes, this does give you a little bit more zoom, and it gives you that little bit more of a generous, wider apertures across some of the zoomed range, but it's just not enough to warrant the extra cost. And this is, you know, up there about $500 to $600. We are talking about just a shy over 300 here. I think this is a better lens. Now, if neither of these fits you and you want to know which is the best zoom lens that you should buy for your camera, just leave a comment down below or come over and find me on Facebook. I'd be happy to answer. And if you have any questions that I didn't answer in this fairly brief review, I'd be happy to just leave them down below or come over and find me on Facebook. Thanks so much for watching, and please subscribe. Subscribing is an easy way to support my work here, and I appreciate it. Thank you.